What's going on, guys? We are finishing up. This is the last one of our Get to Know Your Athlete portion of our Clash on the Coast coverage. Once again, biggest middleweight show in the history of Strongman. We have the most competitive talent pool. Some of the greats are out there. We got involvement from Kearney and Lawrence Chalet and Martins Lisis and Nick Best. And we've got sponsorship. We got WS involved, live streaming on Core Sports for free. So make sure you get signed up. We have the finals airing on ESPN several weeks after the finals go down. So you want to make sure you know who's there, you know their backstory, you know who the underdogs are, you know who to root for. So getting into Heat 6, remember, top two from each heat goes in the finals. The finals are heavy. They're going to be a blast to watch. These guys are just going to be dead by the end, so it's going to be very, very exciting to see what they pull out. The qualifiers are very biased towards speed. There's 3 moving events, a bag medley, a farmer's medley, an odd object loading medley in the sand, which is not going to be fun. Explosiveness is important. There is a keg toss. Then there's 2 static events, 600-pound squat for reps, and an overhead medley, 300 log to a 250 block to a 172-inch dumbbell for reps. So 2 static events, a throwing event, 3 light, fast moving events. So in this heat setup, that really means that being a little bit faster than your opponents, being a second faster on a farmer's carry or bag carry, is much, much more important than being able to squat 100 pounds more than second place. So that's key to know. These are the type of athletes we're selecting for. It makes it very interesting to see what strength weaknesses the fast guys have versus which moving weaknesses the really, really strong guys have. And then, of course, the best have no weaknesses. And those are going to be the guys at the top at the end of the weekend. So going into our last heat, this is a big one. They have 6 people in this. Now, because some people dropped out, the other heats have 5, and one of them, Anthony Deal, got injured, which leaves 4 people. So they may move one of these people into another heat. That remains to be seen. Now, this, in my opinion, this one is pretty cut and dry. I know first and second off the top of my head, and I'll put a good amount of money on it, but we'll get into that. There's 6 people. I'm going to start at the bottom. Remember, each division has pros that got invites represented, and then they distributed all of the people who earned their qualification online on top of those pro invites. So starting at the bottom and moving up, we have Mike Gonzales. I've known Mike Gonzales for a while. He's competed in the under 200 class for a while. He always commits to being the best 200 pounder. He's had some hiccups. He hasn't had a lot of good contests. He's gotten a lot better over the years. He's gotten a lot stronger over the years. But his showings weren't fantastic. He got a 41st out of 68 people in nationals in 2017, and then he got 18th out of 23 people at nationals 2019. So in those 2 years, not a lot of improvement. He hasn't done a lot of big shows in the last couple of years. His static strength has climbed up a bit, and he's always getting experience. So it'll be interesting to see what Mike does at this show. Mike is everybody's favorite underdog. So then we go into Matthew McCoy. I believe Matthew McCoy is from Ireland. So I don't know if he's going to be able to make the show. There have been a few international guys who've had to pull out because they couldn't get their travel approved. So Matt McKeegan couldn't make it. He was supposed to be in my heat, I think, and he wasn't able to make it. So he's just focusing, I think, on UK Strongman. And Max Kleinfachter is from Germany, and he wasn't able to make it either. So Matt McCoy, I believe, is from Ireland. His IG has him as current Ireland Strongman 2020. I don't know what the competitive pool is out there. You have a smaller group of people, but at the same time, Strongman's a lot bigger out there. So you definitely get some freaks from that side of the world. So he got 11 reps at 600 pounds, which is a pretty good showing. And he hit a 331 axle. I don't know what the rest of his game is like, or like I said, if he's going to be able to show up. So he's kind of an unknown in that division. Now, if he can't make it, that means that all the heats have 5 people, and then we do have one heat with 4 people in it, unless they pull somebody in last minute, which maybe they will, maybe they won't. That brings us to Reed Tompkins. Now, I've been following Reed. I only met him at this last Nationals, but I've been following him for a couple years because he was a guy that was slated to get his pro card a couple of years back. Nationals 2019, he was on a tear, and he tore his bicep on the last movement, which was a stone to shoulder. Even with that torn bicep, he took 4th. All the times I've bombed big contests, and it's just absolutely ruined my trip, but I got to take that plane ride of shame back home. I am thankful I've never had to take 4th place at Nationals because top 3 gets a pro card. And when you're that close to something that is that monumental, it's devastating. I think I'd rather be 9th than 4th. So I know that was at the front of his mind for years. He staged a nasty comeback. He came back this last year, Nationals 2020, bicep healed, had a monster performance. Once again, 4th place. But what does that mean? That means that Reed is a force to be reckoned with. When you are that consistent, I mean, even if you're really good, Nationals is a really hard show because there's so many people and there's so little margin for error over all of the event. So if you're someone who can place regularly in a very high position at those types of meets, that means that you are good. You deserve your spot at the table. So Reed came in. He deserves his spot. I'm excited to see him tear through these. He's very fast on moving events. He doesn't really have a lot of static weaknesses. I think relative to the other guys, his overhead is a step behind, but I'd be very surprised if he didn't pull out a rep on the squat. He's going to do well on the keg toss. He's going to do well on all the carry events. He's going to be the guy to watch out for. Now that brings us to Jordan Donaldson. I only know Jordan Donaldson from competing against him at Nationals in 2018. He took first. And that was the year that Adam Geiger took second and got his pro card there. That was the year that I bombed the dumbbell. And watching Jordan, I'd seen him at the Arnold before, where he took second to Terry Rady. And then I saw him at the Arnold after, where he very narrowly missed first place there. And then I really haven't seen him compete since. But that's 2 second place finishes at the Arnold, a win at Nationals. He's very strong, very well-rounded. Pulled 600 for 13 in the qualifiers. Put up a 358 axle. And he strikes me as the type of guy that can not do anything. It's like the great white hype when Damon Wayans was fat and out of shape and he shows up and he knocks out his opponent out of nowhere. Jordan Donaldson strikes me as the type of guy that could do very little and show up off the couch and still do well. He seems like a natural born athlete. I'd bet money he was a baseball player in high school. Just get that vibe from him. But he's also kind of out of commission. From what I gather, he went through some stuff where he couldn't really train very much, some minor injuries or whatever. So he wasn't really cleared to train until a little bit recently. And again, that's a lot of ground to make up because these events have to be so fast and precise. But I would be very surprised if he still wasn't a threat the day of. It's just he's going to be not quite as sharp as the guys that were able to come in really, really specifically peaked out for this. Johnny Wasiczko, he's been training for a while. He's an older guy. I think he's into his 40s. He's been a pro for a long time. He bounces back and forth. He has some events that he's really, really good at. He's pretty good at moving events. He's really good at throwing events. He has some really strong movements for him. But he also hasn't had a lot of stellar performances recently. He was 9th at ASM 2018. I don't think there were many more people than that year. 7th in 2019. 18th at OSG in 2019. Didn't have a great showing. Again, a couple events he was good at. I think he zeroed the overhead press, but a lot of people did, and that cost him. 8th at ASM this last year. I think, I want to say there were 12, so that was a bit of a better performance. But it comes with age, and it comes with having holes. You know, every generation, these guys get stronger. So when you're trying to keep up with that, it's a tricky thing to do. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. And just when I start to get to the standards that I think are required to compete, everything shifted up. So you're always chasing that number. So it'll be interesting to see how Wasiczko's experience treats him at this show. Then there's the last one, and this is my guy. This is who I was rooting for. He got into the show at the last minute. He deserves to be there just as much as anybody. Andrew Mock won California Strongman a couple years back. He took 6th right behind me at OSG when I took 5th. He took 7th right in front of me at Nationals when I took 8th. He's very fast, pretty damn well-rounded, extremely athletic. He's also like 6'3", which gives him this big advantage with moving events. I look at him and Reed Tompkins as being the guys that are fast and pretty well-rounded. That's assuming Donaldson isn't in fighting shape. If Donaldson's relatively healthy, relatively peaked, he's the guy to beat. He's very strong and very fast and athletic. Reed and Mock are kind of analogs to each other. They're both really good deadlifters. Pressing, they're not weak, but a little bit behind some of the better pressers. But they're both very explosive and can move very well. I think Andrew, because he's taller, is a little faster than Reed, and I don't think he's weaker in any real way that's important. That is going to be very close between the two of them, but I got to give it to Mock on this one. The rest is really going to come down to what kind of shape Donaldson's in. I would really like to see Reed make it into the finals. He deserves to get into the finals. If Donaldson doesn't have any big screw-ups, if Donaldson is in fighting shape and he was able to get some good training in, he's the guy to beat. So tentatively, I'm going to give it to Donaldson and Mock with the asterisk that if Donaldson's issues haven't sidelined him too much, then I'm going to give it to Mock and Reed. But I'm really excited to see that because I think between the three of them, there's going to be some damn good foot races. Those moving events are going to be very entertaining to watch. They're going to be very close, and they're going to be a notch above what you see in any other heat. I really think. I think most of the heats, you're going to take the average moving time, and you're going to see that these guys are all 3, 4, 5 seconds faster. So that'll be cool to watch. So that is my take on the last heat. It's coming up, guys. We're 2 weeks out. So make sure you get signed up to Core Sports. Go ahead and leave questions and comments in the comment box, and I'm going to keep you guys updated with the contest as it's going on. So thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Bromley. I'll see you.